Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host, Holly. I'm joined as ever by Stef and Chris. Hello, gentlemen.
Good evening.
What have I got to say at the start, Stef? What is it? I can't remember.
At the start, you've got to tell all the listeners that they should subscribe to us on YouTube at North Bank Pod.
At North Bank Pod. Okay,
yeah, if you
I've
could
written
do that,
I've got
that'd be great. And it's basically the same handle on all the other socials.
Have you
as well.
two joined the Ashburton Army, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we have gone a bit black hoodie.
So do I need to go dark as well?
Well, for those listening, not watching, myself and Steph are donned in black hoodies, but I'm always donned in a black hoodie, so Steph has made us look a bit more army-ish.
Yeah.
Not
I haven't got a shirt
It's too
on
cold
today.
to take this off, so as you were.
Okay, look, we're going to look briefly back at Port Vale from a couple of nights ago now, and then to Newcastle on Sunday. Apologies, this podcast gone out 24 hours later than it would normally have gone out, but I blame everybody else apart from me for that. So, okay.
Fair enough.
Oh, Steph's pointing at himself, but no, it's 24 hours later. It's fine. It'll be worth the wait, he says. So, Port Vale, gentlemen, I missed the first 30 minutes. But going into the game, it was what was the checklist? No injuries, win, move on.
Yeah.
Mission
sheets.
accomplished. I mean, the teams, okay, clean sheets, fine. The team selection, I think we all thought. My instant reaction to it was also a bit stronger than I thought. And then when I actually did the counting up, only 2 players started the previous game, so it was 9 changes. And we are shorn of quite a few players through injury as well. So I don't think he had... So Saliba for me, but what was his alternative? Well, there wasn't one. I'd rather Saliba played than Calafiori played, for example, because Calafiori is more breakable or brittle than Saliba. And Saka starting, but he didn't start against City previously. Get minutes in his legs, bring him off after 60 minutes. I mean, I didn't want Saka anywhere near the game, if I'm honest. But he did start, and I thought, well, okay, he got away with it. But if that was a metatarsal break from that tackle, I mean, just on that, do we still have metatarsals?
What, as a human race? Or?
Yeah, because I think we've evolved in the last 20 years, however, since the Beckham metatarsal, and every footballer seemed to be getting metatarsal injuries. I've not heard of one.
Maybe
in
the
last
boots
20
are
years.
stronger. Maybe the boots are reinforced in such a way.
That's much more sensible, Chris.
Yeah.
Than
rather than
evolution.
We've evolved and we've now got flippers, as feet.
We've got just giant thumbs, though.
Big, gristly kind of things instead of... Yeah, no, we still have metatarsals.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks for...
Join us next week when
we'll clear up another mystery for you. Just
Anatomy Spot here on the North Bank Pod. You can find us on YouTube at the North Bank Pod.
Nice.
It's funny though.
Nice.
Thanks.
But if Steph, if you did clip that bit and put it out on TikTok, I would be absolutely pelted for thinking that we'd evolved in 20 years and we no longer had a metatarsal because there were no need for that many bones in the foot or something. I don't know.
Funny that injuries go in trends, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all the rage now to have an ACL, isn't it? It's all the rage.
Everyone's got
everywhere
one.
you look, everyone's getting one. I want one.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. So, but he didn't break a bone, and he came off after 63 minutes, and that's fine. So, but look, guys, what was your? And we got Brighton as a reward, Brighton at home in the next round, but we can consider that nearer the time. Steph, you watched the game. What was your take on it? I mean, noteworthy. Eze first goal for Arsenal, and a lovely little goal as well. All made by the Lewis Skelly flick.
The ghost
Intentional?
No, he intended to flick it, but not that flick.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I deserve a trophy for sitting through that game. Look, it was what it was. They had 0 shots on target, and therefore it just felt like because we didn't get the second goal that it was a lot perhaps more frenetic than we perceived it to be. But
why didn't we get the second goal?
because we didn't really need to push for it. Really, it was Port Vale were at arm's length. They were, a professional side looking to do well, but obviously there was a massive gulf in class. We were very comfortable with possession at the back, which was interesting in the second half when there were a couple of times that we weren't, because we decided to play a couple of blind passes across just to make it interesting. I think that they all got a little bit bored.
Well, I was paranoid that it would be penalties, that we'd screw up in some way. When Mosquera played that square ball straight to the Port Vale player,
Sure.
like, oh, here we go.
And I think as much as we would have liked a couple of goals and to see that fluency, Man City only won 2-0 away at a League One side as well, having played a few recognisable squad players with them. I think Foden might have even been involved in that as well. So, yeah, grand scheme of things, it's nothing worth losing your mind over. And yet, I like you would have happily not seen Saka there at all. And I put a post out on our social media profile at North Bank Pod. This is going to be a recurring thing. Sorry, we're just all taking the mick out of each other.
Guys, listen. This is all because I keep forgetting it.
I put a post out saying my rational brain sure knows that the manager and the medical staff and all the other coaches know that Saka needs some minutes in his legs, but the irrational part of my brain is going, ha, no, don't do it. And when that tackle went in, and it must have been in the first few minutes of the second half, I was like, oh no, here we go. And he kind of stayed down for a bit, and I was thinking, oh God.
I don't think that's too irrational, Steph. I'll be honest with you. I think that's
maybe.
I think
Given
that's
our recent record in that department,
and with him,
Yes.
and with Madueke out for 2 months, we are a Saka injury away from. Well, I know Waneri would go there, and then it would be he'd play
Dowman.
Marino. Well, no, he'd play Marino
Dowman.
there, wouldn't he? So
yeah,
Marino
and then
goal.
Yeah, couple of bright spots would be Eze's goal. He took that very calmly, and even Dowman's inclusion. When Dowman did come on, there was a couple of nice flicks and passes that he made. We had a couple of comments about how much taller he is than he seems.
over 6 foot.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't seem like that. You just assume, 15-year-old, he's going to be diminutive in his stature, but he's not, and he looks to the manner born. Although I have heard a couple of conversations about, from a purely sort of developmental safeguarding almost point of view, is it right that we should have 15-year-olds playing in men's football? Aside from the physicality of it and the development, the pressure of mistakes, I don't think there would have been a huge amount of spotlight on him because of the Port Vale game. But
I think if he was a centre-half like Marley Salmon, also prodigious talent at 15, same age group as him, I think he wouldn't be playing. Simple as that, because for that very reason, you make a mistake. He could destroy him mentally. You make a mistake, it costs a goal. Whereas his position, his mistakes are likely to result in loss of possession, angst amongst the fans for missing an open goal or miscontrolling it and it going out for a throw-in. Not really terminal. But if you're a centre back. I only mentioned the centre-back because we have got a comparative figure at the club, Marley Salmon, who looks just superb. But, look at Saliba. Shall we just mention Saliba now? We're talking about, I've referenced him a couple of times, but how many, did he have 3 loans? In his first 2 years?
Marseille, St Etienne. Was he at St Etienne for 2
I thought it was just 2. I thought it was just 2.
Okay, so was it his third year he started playing for us? But there was that cock-up with timing, and he's basically missed. We didn't let him play in the French Cup final, and then missed a loan deadline or something like that.
Yeah, he was kicking around.
Yeah. But so even Saliba, who at 24 is in the top 3 centre backs in world football, there's not a club. Look at Real Madrid. It's an open secret. I think Arteta openly talked about it after in his presser this afternoon about Real Madrid's interest in Saliba. There isn't a team in the world who wouldn't have Saliba in their squad. I say squad, who wouldn't have Saliba in their starting 11. They just would. You just would. You know, who have Liverpool got? Canate. So could you play? Saliba alongside Van Dijk. They're two. That'd be the most laid-back centre-back pairing ever. You know? They're just like so chill, that ice cold. So and he's signed on for an extra 3 years from where we are, but a 5-year deal. Well, he hasn't signed on yet, but he's agreed a contract 5 years till 2030. And as much as we bang on about Arteta being a little bit handbrakey and a little bit cautious and so on, and certain segments of the Arsenal fan base are far more abrasive and toxic than that, Arteta out to that extent. If you want to know the standing of a manager, look at the players who want to join only Arsenal, and then eight this summer, and look at the players we've got. Saliba, this contract for 5 years, these are his prime, his peak years. Gabriel the same. Waneri not so much. Who else signed? Who am I missing? Saka is on the way. Who was the other big signing we had? Extension. Lewis Skelly.
Gabriel.
Okay,
Lewis Skelly.
yeah. So there's no way Gabriel and Saliba and Saka I'm confident will sign, would be committing their best years to a club they didn't have absolute 100% faith in their capacity to win trophies with. I think that's reassuring that inside the club there's no noise. All the noise is outside the club. Yeah. They are committed. Apparently Saliba and Gabriel had been chatting over the summer a lot about what they were going to do, and they almost decided together, like, let's do it. Because look, we're the bedrock here. Let's do it. Let's stay. Let's win with this club. We buy into what Arteta's doing. The club's spending money and so on. How did it? It was out of the blue, the news, because I expected it to go into his final year like it did last time round, but no. And was it a bad news day? And they released it. It wasn't particularly. I think, you know, a few little dummies spat out after Man City, but not. You know, we're still sitting second. So how do you guys react to the Saliba news? Steph, Chris, Steph.
After you.
No, just pleasantly surprised. And like you said, Holly, it just shows you it's a reflection on his... it's like the virtuous circle effect, like you said, with all the other players kind of rallying around and thinking, well, if he's signing, I'm signing. And that's what it's creating, you know, that since Gabriel signed, we just know that Saka's going to sign. It's just, you know, it's good news all round for me. I'm just delighted.
Yeah, I think of all the players that we knew the contract negotiations were going on with, Saliba was the one that I always felt could be the one that would see it out and maybe get that move or be, you know, pinched by someone else. But I'm delighted. I think he's an absolutely brilliant defender, and I love the way he and Gabriel complement each other. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
There's an interview. I don't know when this interview came from, because I only saw really like a 5-second snippet from it, and the context for it was with Saliba, and he's in his Arsenal. So something at the training centre. The context was like, you know, Arsenal were very popular, a lot with the French players and so on, and but you know, Real Madrid and Barcelona seem to be the ultimate destination clubs. Not those ones weren't used, and he says, yeah, in his, I can't do his French accent, obviously, and I couldn't get as deep as him in a month of Sundays, so I'm not even going to try. But he said, yeah, they all go to that, but no, me, I'm going to a proper club. And he punched his crest like that, and I thought, fair play. So I don't know when that interview happened, and we know he was an Arsenal supporter as a kid.
Yeah, they rolled out that picture of him.
Did they?
And he kept saying Thierry Henry was my hero. So
good.
Yeah,
and
it's a proper connection there.
It also, even with a slightly more cynical head on, the fact that he's signing on means that if anyone does really, really want him, guess what? you're going to have to blooming pay through the nose to get him. But I think also it just made me take stock of our view because, we were critical of a few things after the Man City game, and it did just make me take stock and sort of step back and think the things that we are critical of now are those fine margins and are those small details and are those little moments and the players signing on and agreeing to continue their career at the club under this ownership, under this management, and, it just shows the direction that it's sort of going in, and they believe. And we've said, in another year, that 29 goal conceded, 91 goals scored season would have ended up with a title. All the certain points that you need to look at are so close. It's just about making it happen. And we've been backed in the summer and the squad's been reinforced. We've got some injury concerns that we have to deal with. But it just made me think that, it is the noise. Where we're at is a really, really, really good place. And the fact that the players are believing that shouldn't overshadow every now and again the odd game being a little bit disappointing because we're really good.
Zoom out.
Yeah.
Arsblog, I think, wrote today, along paraphrasing, that every defeat is responded to like, well, we're never going to win another game of football. And at the moment this season, every victory is not a good enough victory. It's just pan out, bigger picture, look at, Man City are travelling to us with an inferiority complex. Liverpool are changing their tactics at home against us because they fear us.
I've never come away from, since certain dates in Man City's history, I haven't come away from a Man City game disappointed with a draw.
With the 93rd minute equaliser.
It's a shift, isn't it?
It's not even...
Exactly.
It's like...
Exactly.
there wasn't even the buzz that lasted more than a minute. I celebrated the goal.
On, let's go.
And then there was the VAR check, and that was okay, fine. And then I'm like, right, we need another, one more. And so that's in itself is a testament to. And I was disappointed with the Liverpool attitude, performance, result, in that order.
And so look at that back four now. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly. All right, Calafiori might be a slightly different case. They're all committed. They're all either recent signings or they've just signed on. That's solid. That's set. We've added Mascara to back up. We've added Nketiah. We haven't seen. Ben White seems pretty settled.
Calafiori, it's ridiculous.
It's just nuts, and they're all. There's no concern there. It's absolutely amazing.
And they seem like it's a happy place. At the moment, and I suppose if I say if, and that's a big if, we get players back, then the issue might arise, because there'll be players that won't make the bench, like big players who won't make the bench, and it's about keeping those happy and spreading the minutes around without impacting momentum and so on. But again, with our injury record, we may never get to that utopia.
Well, just to go back to the League Cup and the victory against Port Vale, that's why it's important to make some progress in that competition. From a selfish point of view, Brighton at home in the next round towards the end of October doesn't excite me amazingly. It's a time when I will be on holiday and could have gone to a nice little away trip somewhere, but I'll go to Brighton at home and hopefully we'll get through to the next round of that, and it'll be another occasion where a few different personnel can get some of those minutes.
Indeed, I dropped a pen. I'm trying to pick it up and listen to what you're saying. I lost my train of thought completely. Two things at once, multitasking. Not for me, apparently. Anyway, before we mention the Saliba extension, new contract, whatever, had we finished with Port Vale? I can't remember now.
Pretty much. I think we just agreed that it was job done. There wasn't too much to get excited about the game itself. There was one other thing about Eze that I thought while I was following from Mikel's presser from after the City game, when he was getting pelters for this, that and the other. And he kept saying about, the workload that Eze's under, the workload, the load. And then he proceeded to play him for 80 minutes in a game against Port Vale. So let's see what happens on Sunday.
Is that a nice little? Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, is that not Arteta just tempering expectations a little bit for Eze? Maybe just trying to lessen the spotlight on him to some extent. I don't know.
I mean,
Possibly.
he's got a goal and 2 assists in his limited minutes so far. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
And 2 brilliant assists,
That
by the way.
assist for Martinelli. Woof.
Yeah. And I think look back at the Gyökeres assist for the second goal against Leeds. That was a first time left foot across the 6-yard. It was it was a difficult assist. It looked easy, but that wasn't and so a left foot assist, a right foot assist, and that to have the presence of mind last night to let 2 nights ago, the ball roll across him and not touch it first. I'm like, oh, that was really good. Again, looks so easy, but well, I don't know, 99 other players wouldn't have done that.
No.
It's so. I just want to say, Steph, when you said about that's why it was important that we won, because it allows minutes to be spread around. What did I think of straight away? This is think of Holly Bingo. I thought Grimsby.
Right. Oh.
They're on a game a week up at Old Trafford. Don't clip that bit. Don't put that out. Okay, look. We have already had what I think is our hardest game of the season, which is Anfield, right? Now, debatable what our second most difficult game of the season is. For me, Old Trafford ranks high up there as well, and we've got that out of the way. Man City away, obviously, but also in the conversation is St James's Park, Newcastle. And so game week 6, and we're travelling up to St James's Park. We haven't scored there in the last 3 visits, let alone won anything. We haven't scored there. Steph, you are going. Newcastle is sitting 13th. They've only scored 3 and conceded 3 in the league so far. What, they got 6 points. The last game they drew 0-0 at Bournemouth. The game prior to that they beat Wolves 1-0. They're not playing particularly well. They've lost to Barcelona as well. They beat Bradford 4-1 in the League Cup, where Anthony Gordon played, and he's back from suspension. Bruno Guimaraes played also, but he didn't play in the weekend before that against Bournemouth. So they'll be quite rested. I mean, the only thing I can think is they haven't got Isak, so I'm pleased about that. Now, the Isak replacement, I can't pronounce his name, Voltemade or something. He scored the goal against Wolves. He's off the mark. Wissa is not available. Fabian Schär's not playing, and I think that's important because I like the idea of breaking up those 2 centre-backs because they're very, very good. And who else? Jacob Ramsey, I think, is out as well. But apart from that, I don't know. How are you feeling about it, Steph? I know you're going. I know you're looking forward to the stairs in particular. But
I'm going, and I'm looking forward to going and hanging
Clearly.
out with, the mates that I go to the game with, and it'll be enjoyable going up in the minibus for, the 700 hours that it takes to get to Newcastle, up the A1 in particular. But, aside from the away fan experience at Newcastle, where you need oxygen halfway up the stairs because they put you right up out of the way, I'm not looking forward to the game, I must admit, because there is this huge narrative about our style of play. Well, tell you what, Newcastle style of play, full of aggression. And if there is the odd Newcastle fan that's listening, I mean this as a compliment. You are horrible to watch. They are horrible to watch. And like you say, our record is pretty shonky there. I think we've lost 4 of the last 5 meetings with them. Like you said, we played them 4 times last season, because 2 in the league, 2 in the League Cup. No goals. Didn't score against them. They are stingy at the back, and they are aggressive, and they are doing that classic thing. Again, this doesn't sound like a compliment, but it is. When we were having those ding-dongs with Stoke and with those other teams that could just be aggressive against Arsenal, and we would wilt. For some reason, we do it with that. And we've just spoken about our brilliant defence that has a solid foundation. And normally, we can't be bullied and we're really good, but there's some extra venom in what goes on between Arsenal and Newcastle that just is weird and leaves a weird taste in the mouth.
I don't like the media narrative around Newcastle either. I don't get it. They're like media darlings almost. I know it's because Eddie Howe's English. I'm sure it is.
Well, I mean, there are elements of that, and because they're a romantic club, a one club
the wealthiest
city.
Club in world football.
But you would think the Saudi backing and the fact that, all right, they've made the Champions League a couple of times now, they've won the League Cup, but does that transform it? I don't know. Maybe do enough for me. I've always liked Newcastle. Like I've said, for years going up to Newcastle was a really good fan experience because their fans were so friendly and welcoming. And I have to say that has changed in recent years. There's a little bit more bite. There's a little bit more aggro around the ground and from fans coming away. Whether that's their own levels of expectation, whether it's just because Arsenal are much more relevant again now, competing at the top, and therefore it's fun to hate on us. I don't know.
Or we're perceived as more of a rival to them now.
It's context rivals, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, you looking forward to it?
Yes and no. I mean,
you went up an octave there, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's more no than yes.
Look, I just feel like we've got everything in the toolkit to go and win, and in that sense, I want us to go there. I remember a few years ago we went and we sort of earned the right to play, and we beat them, I think 2-0, and that was the last time we won there. Odegaard, I think, scored the first one, but we did play them off the park in that game. There was a sort of stodgy beginning, and then we got into our groove and got on top of it. And the last few times has been more attritional, has been more physical, and we haven't really coped with it. And we've let them go ahead, and then they shut up shop, and we can't get through. So for me, I mean, it will come to the sort of team selection and everything. I just think we have to earn our right to play.
Okay, let me ask you that. Let me ask you on that then. I was having a conversation with Tabs from the Grove earlier, and he said, and he wasn't. He made some reference to how not Arteta's, but his own thing was like, let's not concede a goal early. And he said that, and I'm like, well, and I pulled him up, and I said, well, that's the problem right there. Let's enter the game with let's score a goal early. Why are we entering into this fixture with the attitude, let's not concede, let's keep it tight? Because you just alluded to it there, and I think, and this is the thing, I think now we don't know. We suspect Odegaard is fit, and if Odegaard is fit, he will start. Okay, and so then there's no question about Merino playing in that 10 position. But I think if Odegaard isn't fit, this is the most eagerly anticipated team announcement. I think I'm looking not forward to, it's the wrong word. I'm looking to the team selection almost as much, if not more, than the actual game, because the team will inform the game for me. Obviously, I'm as logical, and it's.
But it'll inform the mentality.
There's a recency bias over this, though, isn't there? Because had we not played Liverpool and City and set up in a way that was exactly that mentality of like, let's just be careful at first and then be more expansive later, I think this is the ideal game to start a Merino in, because of that kind of physical battle in the midfield with Tonali, Guimaraes and Joe Linton, who will probably be...
Rice and Zubimendi can deal with that.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is, had they selected Merino and there wasn't the narrative that we've been through in the City and the Liverpool game, maybe there wouldn't be such a reaction. I think if he starts him in this game, then there will obviously be a reaction.
I think it's... We've got the Golden Glove winner for the last 2 seasons in goal. We've got fantastic top 2 goalkeepers in the Premier League, David Wright along with Alisson, right? That, in my opinion, I might be looking at that through Arsenal tinted glasses, but that's my view. In front of Raya, we've got the best defence in the league. Statistically, the best defence in the league. for the last 2-3 years. And in front of them, we've got Rice and Zubimendi. We've got in terms of best player in the world in that position, we've got Rodri and we've got Zubimendi. Like, who replaced Rodri at half-time in the final against England and not a drop in...
Seamlessly.
Yeah, not a drop in standard at all, right? So we've got him there, and we've got Rice, a very physical, more than capable of playing a number 6 or a number 8, but he's a very physical... That is enough stability and security there, surely. And, like, Newcastle are not as good a football team as us. They're not. No. I know that's like removing the emotion from the game, but they're not as good at football. They should be far more fearful of us than the other way round. If Arteta wants to, I think Odegaard plays. I don't think this conversation doesn't happen if Odegaard's fit and firing and there's no question mark over his availability. But therefore, if Odegaard is fit, he plays. Why then do you not play somebody as close to that profile as possible? Why do you then go... Because if Odegaard was fit, he'd have played against Liverpool. He did. If Odegaard was fit, he'd have played against Man City. So why then do you take that profile of player out of the team and replace it with Marino? And this is not against Marino, by the way. Put Eze there. And Arteta, he acknowledged his mistake in his actions. He changed it at half-time.
I think because Odegaard is a bit of a unicorn in that he gives you the on-the-ball creativity, but his work rate, the press, the defensive side of his game is phenomenal. Eze
is a really hard-working... Like, he excelled at Palace. Do you think Palace controlled the ball in the majority of their games of football? No, the defensive part of his game would have been tested far more at Palace than at Arsenal. So, like, he's more akin to Odegaard, or if not Eze, then Nwaneri. I know Nwaneri's... I don't think he's got the physicality at the moment for it, but he might do, but not Marino. Like, I don't understand if you're prepared to play Odegaard because he is a creative link between your midfield and your attack. Why? But Odegaard's not available. Then why not? Why remove that altogether? I mean, that impacts the rest of the team in an attacking sense. Chris, do you see what I'm saying?
I do, absolutely. I don't disagree. I'm just trying to think of reasons as to why that isn't happening. Look, had Eze been with us for 6 months, maybe he'd have felt, more inclined to play him and slot him in. He's just played 3 games for us barely, so I think that's part of the reason.
But he's not new to the league. He's new to us, but he's not new to the league.
And as Rice said, it took him 6 months or whatever to understand the Arsenal way, the nuances of how we play. And
Steph, what do you think then about what I'm ranting about, I guess?
I'm with you in the sense that... I can understand it more when it's City and Liverpool. What Newcastle don't want is trickery, movement, interplay, pace to a certain extent as well. They want it to be a dogfight. And I think we are so naive when we get drawn into that kind of game that it's really frustrating. And I have wondered as well that... Because there was a game 2 or 3 seasons ago when we did beat Newcastle at St James's Park, and it was relatively comfortable because we were on the front foot, and it was really quick, and it was exactly... I remember Odegaard scoring from distance, a little kind of daisy cutter shot along the ground is what I remember particularly about that game, and that was good. And so it then reminded me of Anthony Joshua, former world champion heavyweight boxer. He was world champion for a long time, and something in his mentality sort of shifted because he felt that people weren't giving him enough credit as a boxer. They thought, oh, he's just a big guy, he's just got a big punch, he's just going to knock people out. And he was like, no, I'm a better boxer than that. I need you to respect this kind of an idea of the boxing thing. So then he would fight the likes of Usyk, and Usyk just disappointed him. The way to beat Usyk from Joshua's point of view, not that I think he could, to be honest, but anyway, was to try and use his size and his weight. Well, it's almost like I feel sometimes Arteta, maybe even the players to a certain extent as well, they want to prove that they can beat Newcastle at their own game and stand up to them and lose sense of what we're really good at, which would be that interplay, that speed, that movement, and try and draw that on. And I think if you go with that personnel, I could almost understand it more if you maybe took Gyökeres out the firing line and played Merino up front and had him as that back-to-goal link player.
He played him up front against Port Vale, didn't he?
Yeah, ish. Although it was a bit of a sort of free jazz kind of sort of experimental version of a striker.
Havertz would probably be playing this game if he was fit.
I think probably so as well. But so I wouldn't, like you. I'm sort of keen for Arsenal to go and try and imprint themselves on the game. Not necessarily just go for it, but try and dictate a bit more.
Yeah, go for it in a sense that we've got that foundation, that back line with the two shielding players in front. We can, and that's not to say that our other three players are non-defensive. They are. Whoever plays on the left. I mean, the only one, to be fair, if Trossard starts on the left, I'll be cross. Because Martinelli and Eze, I think, just offer so much more that they can offer the protection as well. I mean, the issue is Anthony Gordon. Doesn't he play from the right? Or does he play from the
left? Sort of more often from the left, but can play either. And I think due to Isak's transfer to Liverpool, they've actually used him central a little bit as well. Because Voltemada hasn't started every game. He's being used sort of bit by bit here and there. Harvey Barnes has come to the fore a little bit more. So there'll be pace. They can go for the jugular if they want to. And so, but there's those threats. But we've got a really good defence. We're not going to play a suicidal high line. No,
I'm not saying we just
Yeah, exactly.
Arsene Wenger, 6 forwards on the pitch kind of thing. But it would be nice to start on the front foot and not control the game, but dictate the game, if you know what I mean. That's slightly different. Control the game in a sense of sterile possession and not giving much away and keeping it tight and all of that. I think I disappeared then, didn't I?
Only a tip.
You did.
Okay.
But it won't come out for everyone watching and listening. It will just be why has Chris and Steph made weird faces? Because Holly's speaking and it's all good. Let's see. I think if Odegaard plays, then you've got that balance back, which should make a difference in and of itself. That was what I was bemoaning with the Merino. He's much maligned, I think, Merino. He comes in for a lot of flack. It's not his fault. He's a certain profile. He's not Odegaard. But with Odegaard there, we've automatically got the link, that Saka link. He likes to get close to Saka. I'd love to see how he combines with Eze. We haven't had the opportunity to see them playing together. How will that work?
But that's what makes me laugh about the selection, and it's not to malign Merino, but if we all, again, step back and have a think about it, Merino is Rice's understudy. And so it changes the dynamic of the team when you then go, okay, I'm going to put Merino there. Whereas I know it's not the same level. Of course, Odegaard is for me, underrated by some fans who are probably over-critical of Odegaard. Because of what he brings, but when Mary will bring something slightly different. Eze, like you say, I'd love to see him link up with Saka. I think he'll probably be used out wide more this weekend, but we'll have to see.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can now. Yeah.
Okay. My thing says I'm trying to reconnect. I don't know, is that like a personal message or not? I don't know, but
fine.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Give us your starting 11 then.
Well, I'm going to assume that Odegaard is okay. So Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori comes back. Zubi and Rice kind of anchoring. And Odegaard in front of them with Saka, Gyökeres and Eze on the left.
Steph?
I've got exactly the same team.
It's a full house.
Yeah,
Although it was before we came on and were recording that Holly reminded me that we had a player called Eze because I completely forgotten him. I don't know why.
Eza, isn't it?
Eze, sorry,
Sorry,
Eze.
sorry.
So I'd had a bit of a brain fart there. But yeah, that's sort of, again, injuries probably play into that, but that is probably our best team, if Odegaard's fit.
It does mean we've got the super sub duo on the bench, Martinelli and Trossard, Waneri on the bench, Lewis Skelly on the bench, Mosquera on the bench, Kepa on the bench. Norgard on the bench. Did he play okay? He seems quite good against... but again, he's a Brentford captain. Like, he's going to be...
Yeah.
Our floor is high.
Yeah.
You know, that we made 9 changes. We've got about 5 injuries to key players, first team players. We made 9 changes and we still put out a team that was just oozing, dripping in quality and experience. It was like fantastic. Now for the fun bit. Chris, I'll go to you first.
Well, I got the last one right, 1-1. So I'm hoping I get this one right as well. I'm going to say we're going to nick it 2-1.
Steph.
Hello. You all right?
Yeah, it's your turn. It's your turn to give a score, Steph.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Steph?
Newcastle have been incredibly stingy this season. What was it? 3 goals scored, 3 goals conceded, and they're keeping a lot.
And
of
we
clean
haven't
sheets.
been as fluent away from home, certainly.
Yeah, I've gone 0-0.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm shooting myself in the foot there. I always feel cheated if I've gone to a game and we haven't scored. But yeah.
Well, we haven't scored there in the last 3 visits.
Yeah.
So.
I know.
Chris, I've gone 2-1 as well. Do I keep it at that or do I change it just to...
No, keep it. Why not?
Well, me and Chris predicted 1-1 Man City, so,
okay,
go for it.
I'll tweak it. I'll say 2-0.
You're going to say 2-0?
I'll say 2-0.
Okay.
I've been banging on about our world-class defensive line.
We'll score first. We might even go 2-0 up, and then they'll get one back.
And I'll be going for a walk then. I heard this question today, and I thought it was quite an interesting one. Or read it. And it kind of follows on from the conversation we're having about, like, if Odegaard doesn't play, why does he change the profile of player he replaces him with? He didn't against Leeds and Forest. He played Waneri, who is a similar profile to Odegaard. Right. Do you think Arteta will ever play both Eze and Odegaard and one of Zubimendi and Rice? So you've got a midfield 3 of either Rice or Zubimendi in the 6, and you've got kind of a left 8 and a right 8, or I don't know how you describe it, but you've got Odegaard and Eze there.
Would the question be, will he start them, or would you ever see them in that?
Start a game, because game state. If you're 2-0 down, then that formation, those players might appear. It might finish a game, but starting a game with just like one protector in front of the back 4, and I can't see it happening away at Newcastle. I can't see it happening away at any of the big clubs, home against the big clubs either, but certainly against kind of the lesser threat clubs, if you like. Could you ever see him starting with that? I mean, that is quite an attacking. But again, you start with that personnel and you go 3-0 up. It doesn't. Defense is fine.
I struggle to see him doing it certainly in the short term. Maybe in another year or so when Ez has had a chance. Steph's just saying no, absolutely not.
Don't
really,
see it.
But are you okay with that?
Probably not in a way, but I think we just have a system and there are certain players. And this is what annoys me about the Marino selection, because it's about the profile for that particular role that he's gone for. I just think he sees Eze either deputising for Odegaard in the midfield, or he sees him along the front line somewhere. I think we're more likely to see him in Saka's position or on the left as he has been, or maybe even as a false nine. I think he's more likely to be that than one of the three in midfield, unless it is one of the three in midfield with two others who are more defensive-minded.
I'd love to see that lineup. I'd love to see a Rice or a Zubimendi play the six and have... Can you imagine that attacking? I mean, that would terrify any team. You've got the following players: Odegaard, Eza, Madueke left, Saka right, Gyökeres through the middle.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's electric.
But he's not going to, like you say, it's about the opposition. You know, against an opposition for whom he sees it as less of a risk because he knows they're going to park the bus, or they're not going to hit us on transition in the same devastating way.
Okay, we're home to Olympiacos next week in the Champions League.
He's not going to do it in the Champions League. Not on your
home to
nelly.
Olympiacos is easier. Sorry, I'm saying this and we might get stunned, shocked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Olympiacos, who have caused us to trip up a couple of times, put us out. Was it round of 16 Champions League?
About
but
10 years ago.
Yeah, but also in the Europa League as well. Like, so
it's history.
But it's not so risky.
But for Arteta it is. And I think, we were saying earlier as well about how when you step back, zoom out for a little bit, a lot of the success that we've built in terms of trying to step up and compete at the top is built on the defence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And George Graham did it. Arsene Wenger had it.
That's what scares the opposition, how stingy we can be as well. And yet we've got players
We've now got, we can also scare the opposition down the other end of the pitch as well without sacrificing any of that stinginess.
Hence why Man City went so defensive. Hence why Liverpool changed their approach ever so slightly. And those games were fine margins. It was an uncharacteristic goal we conceded against Man City and a 1 in a 10 hit against Liverpool. And yet against the others, Leeds at home, Forest at home, I know it's different context, but 5-0, 3-0. So it's there. It's just...
I heard a stat today about XG being in the last weekend of Premier League football the lowest ever on Opta's range, of stats since they've been gathering the stats, which is an indication of how teams are just tighter generally defensively and use that as their foundation, and how hard it is to score the 5 that we did against Leeds, for example. And I suppose once you've opened the floodgates, it becomes easier because the opposition comes out of it. But very often we see that thing of it being 0-0 later into a game simply by virtue of defences doing their job. So not to be underestimated, but we've got to find the balance.
Okay, I've got a little quiz question for you. It's not quiz like name all the players that have played for Arsenal and Newcastle.
That's good.
On this day in 1998, a player received an 11-match ban for something that happened in an Arsenal game. I was actually at the game.
11-match ban.
It wasn't
on this day.
It wasn't Di Canio, was it?
It was Di Canio.
Oh, pushing the ref. Durkin, was it Durkin?
Alcock.
Alcock, and he did that weird stumble backwards, didn't he? When he
referee
got
dived.
And then Di Canio sort of went like that at Winterburn, and Winterburn shielded.
Bricked it.
Nutty Nigel.
I was at that game. I was Sheffield Wednesday away.
I was at an Arsenal and Milan Legends friendly at the Emirates when Di Canio, Alcock the referee, and Winterburn basically reenacted it, which was sort of funny, but
cringy
also
as well.
a bit cringy as well. Yeah, but it was good.
Anyway, so I just thought that was quite a
1998. Jeez, just the 27 years ago.
Is that 27? No, it's not. That's about 5 years ago. 98 is.
Okay, you keep thinking that.
I'm in my 30s still. I don't know what you're on about. Having qualified as a teacher 30 years ago last June.
Well, I was
Most
telling
of our
you.
team weren't born then. I just throw that in.
Sorry?
Most of our team weren't even born in 1998.
Max Dowman's dad was barely born at that point, I think. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know the age profile of our squad. Norgard, 30 plus.
Yeah.
Kepa, 30 plus. I don't know. I don't know how old they are.
Well, we've got a 15-year-old. That's all we need to know.
Yeah. A 15-year-old and two 18-year-olds.
Who feel really old now. Lewis Skelly.
I felt really old since 1998. Doesn't make any difference now. I feel old every time I walk upstairs.
Well, I played
any stairs, not just upstairs here.
I played football for the first time in a year, and boy, yeah, my legs feel a bit old today.
We should stop this kind of, I don't know, mournful,
grumpy old
depressing, yeah.
Music was really good in 1998, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Absolutely. We've always got that, as long as I can remember it. Right, okay, that's enough of that.
We'll be talking about our chillblains in a minute. Or
Right, that's it. Newcastle kicking off 4:30 Sunday. Steph, enjoy the game.
Yeah, we'll be leaving at about lunchtime Saturday, I think. Try and get there for kick-off.
You live up north anyway, don't you?
I live in the east. It's still a good 5 or 6 hours, yeah.
You've got to go round and up, haven't you?
Round and up, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, listen, thanks for the chat. Thanks for listening and watching. Enjoy the next couple of days and enjoy the Arsenal-Newcastle game, because me and Chris aren't going to be wrong this time. We're going to win. And then we'll have a little chat afterwards celebrating that fact. Thank you very much. Bye.
Here's hoping. See ya.
Bye. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.